You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. Our guests right now are Tomer Israeli. Tomer was a former member of the Shabak, the Shin Bet, the Israeli Internal Services, comparable to the FBI in the United States. And he also was part of the Israeli army, but now he's teaching the tactics of the Shin Bet so you can protect yourself and be part of his community. He is the founder of the Israeli Tactical School. Rabbi Avi Schwartz is a good fan of the broadcast. He's a filmmaker, producer. He's also a member of the Israeli Tactical community. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So let me begin with you, Tomer. First of all, Tomer, your last name is Israeli. Is that your given name? Is that a name you got from the Shin Bet? Tell us about it.
So the name, we got the name basically due to a transition from Hirsch that my grandfather did. So it's not my pen name or, so it's given by my grandfather from Hirsch. Back in the day, Ben Gurion wanted everybody to change to Hebrew names. So
he wanted an Israeli name. He picked Israeli. No, not a problem. I thought maybe they, in the Shin Bet, I know in the Secret Service, they give people new names sometimes. That's why I was wondering. But
yeah,
you're doing something very interesting. You're teaching people the tactics, how to protect themselves, self-defense, offensive, how to combat. You're teaching them the skills that you learned. What made you decide that this is going to be your career choice, and how did you decide this is going to be your way of doing things?
It's a super good question. It was totally by accident. I did not meant to open a company, tactical company. I served in the Israeli embassy in Washington in security role, and I simply start talking with my colleagues, the American Secret Service and State Department, the people that we basically serving shoulder to shoulder as part of the mission, diplomatic mission in Washington. And I noticed there is a very big gap between the skill sets that we consider minimal or mandatory even. There is a very big difference between what they consider a minimal level of training in hours. So I almost immediately understood there is a gap, that the Shin Bet level is very, very high on the average. So this enlightened me a bit. So when I left the embassy, I explored this option and it's become a reality. So basically the Shin Bet tactics are very interesting in the level that we provide.
So what kind of level do you provide people? People come to you and say, hey, I want to have these skills. What do you teach them?
So we start from the beginning, like any good story. So basically, we don't try to achieve beyond the abilities of the students. We teach the fundamentals that are always important. But what's unique about the Israeli Tactical School training operation that we don't just stop there. So you can basically enhance your skills beyond the fundamentals too. As for example, home self-defense. So we do room clearing, live fire, under pressure, in darkness conditions, utilizing the chokhmah, the wisdom behind the tactics in very common, obvious self-defense challenge, right? Like home self-defense. You learn to operate in a more realistic environment, try to copy it to simulate the conditions, the pressure, the light conditions, all of this stuff.
So what do you teach? You teach them Krav Maga, judo? Do you teach them how to shoot weapons, how to analyze a situation when you're working? Let's get a little more comprehensive picture.
So this called also, there is another name for it. It's called the Individual Doctrine. What are you doing when you are alone, when nobody will help you? This type of situation, like home invasion, for example, in the middle of the night, it's you in the very room with the attacker, what you're going to do about it. And now there are several options and set of skills that require in this situation. And the individual doctrine emphasizes generally on two. One is the ability to shoot if you have a gun. And if you don't have a hand-to-hand combat, you mentioned one of the martial arts, Krav Maga or Judo. So basically, the hand-to-hand combat in most simple, most direct way, emphasize on aggression. This is another set of tools. So you have one is the shooting part of the idea, if you have a gun, and one is the hand-to-hand combat aspect. We combine these two aspects together. So basically, you as a student will be able to operate and choose the right tool for the right moment from muscle memory.
Now,
So-
go ahead.
So
Now,
basically,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. So go ahead.
So basically, I'm programming you, okay, on the skill side to operate without hesitation for muscle memory almost automatically. So it's this level of training will save your life in real time.
Now, you train with guns. Is that a problem? Because the United States, places like New York, where there is have strict gun laws. So do you operate in all parts of the country, or only parts of the states where you're able to operate more freely, training people using weapons?
So it's possible also to train in the New York State, not so much in Manhattan, meaning basically the New York City area is very restricted. But come from Westchester, for example, or other places in New York State, we can train. We can train also in Pennsylvania, in Jersey. And if you want to really take it to the next step, the core business is happening in Florida, where we have access to live fire shootouts, very modern, that we have the elements of the house, basically doors and hallways. So we can actually train in a realistic environment.
Let me turn to you, Rabbi Avi Schwartz, a good friend. He's a producer, filmmaker, and he's a member of the Israeli tactical community. How did you get involved? Unless you want to join the Shin Bet, how did you get involved?
That's my real dream, to join the Shin Bet. My father was in the Shin Bet. My father was one of the original members.
Wasn't your father the wars to liberate Israel?
He was the one who captured Hatzion in 1948, and also Baba Wad and other places in Katamon, many places in Jerusalem. And he's also one of the original members of the Shin Bet in the 50s. I met Tomer about 3 years ago through just a phone call. Since then, we've been in contact. And then a few months ago, I wanted to be part of the training. So I went to his first training course, and I was very impressed because Tomer is an adamant advocate about safety. And that's exactly what you need, especially when you handle guns and rifles. And I was so amazed that Tomer will not let anyone use live fire until he's sure the person is there on the range is able to control themselves, is able to be certain that they have the accuracy and that they won't do anything that's wild and crazy. Only when he sees a person has gotten to that level, after 6-7 hours at least, of a person being under his watchful eye. And Tomer, as calm as he is right now, has an amazing ability to be observant and observe everyone in all types of circumstances and so forth. And when I saw that the first time, I was very impressed. And so now I went to a new course that Tomer was given, and I went for a 10-day training. And that 10 days of training radically changes people's lives. I can tell you that. If you want more information, I can.
Well, just how did it change your life? Are you enlisting a Secret Service? What's new in
I'll tell you how it changed
Rabbi
my
Schwartz's life?
Okay. First of all, I was impressed the way Tomer teaches us how to observe things. Example, when I would go into a room, I would see a few people. Now, when I go into a room, I can actually really, in split moments, can count the number of people, see exactly what's in the room, what kind of...
Can you also, are you trained to see who may be a possible threat?
Yes, that's the second thing, by the way. It's an excellent question you just asked. One of the trainings they had was about security, about, let's say, big events. If someone would come to an event, how would you know who is suspicious, who is carrying a weapon, who may be out of the ordinary? And so we're taught not only in terms of observing, but intellectual way, so to speak. How would someone, let's say, be an active shooter, or be, let's say, someone wants to just come to a synagogue? For instance, Tom would say, a person wouldn't come one day. He would be there one time, 2 times, 3 times, trying to get information, seeing when the congregants would come inside the shul, in the synagogue. He would see when the best time would be people congregating. He would see if stay at night and so forth. So you, as an observer in the synagogue or in the facility, would have to basically keep your eye open to see if who's coming every single day, someone who's being strange, out of the ordinary, and so forth. That was the first thing, observation. Second thing was how to approach someone in a polite way, but in a firm way, to say, I'm sorry, this is the place, this event now is now private, and so forth. Certain tactics that Tomer gave. But these type of tactics that I wasn't aware of before really heightened my awareness, because I want to bring security to this local synagogues here in where we are. And so this information totally changed everything. Give you an example. I've been walking in the courtyard of the synagogue for many, many times, and for quite a while, for the past year. It was only after training with Tomer, all of a sudden, something that I was passing by every single day, basically, going to shul, which is there, I didn't realize until after the training, which is basically, the shul is full of pillars, basically, that has in a courtyard. This is itself is a way a person can protect himself in case an active shooter can hide behind something, or can use that to cover and so forth. That was one aspect of it. The other aspect was Tomer's ability he's very calm, but he has the ability to turn it on, the aggression. Literally, this man who's very calm in front of your eyes right now can become a beast. And that ability we learned is in 10 days by constant pressure, by putting us in situations of heightened awareness, of forcing us to go beyond our so-called limits that we thought we had limits, through Kamagav training in the morning. Then later on, the stories he told us that he himself went through as protecting the embassy and so forth, and other stories about the Shin Bet. And as well, also later on, how we learned to use live fire. But before we learned live fire, we went through dry runs, days and days, at least 5 days of dry runs before we were able to go live fire. And his safety standards are extraordinary. And the people he had, one person from Saret Makam, another person from the Green Berets, amazing instructors, those who've been experienced, and really they gave each one individual attention. They worked out everyone's problems. If they had a problem in having a gun, holding a gun, stance, and so forth, drilling us to the point they became really muscle memory. And I can tell you, it's changed my life and other people's lives going back into this quote unquote civilian world.
That's Rabbi Avi Schwartz. He is a producer, filmmaker, and he has joined the community, the Israeli tactical community, which is headed by Tomer Israeli. He worked with the Shin Bet. He was a captain, which is top rank. He was in the Israeli army, and now he's teaching people the skills of what he learned in the Shin Bet. He's teaching you survival tactics that he learned over the course of his time.
You're listening to Talk Line with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
And we're looking how you too can protect yourself, especially in today's chaotic times. Tomer Israeli is with the Israeli tactical community, and Rabbi Avi Schwartz is a noted filmmaker, producer, as part of that community. Let me turn to you, Tomer. So are you, for example, because of rising anti-Semitism, are you finding more people turning to you? Are you helping individuals to protect synagogues and Jewish institutions and schools around the country?
I might say that the Jewish people that I'm in encounter with, separated to two groups, people that wants to be prepared and people that don't believe something will happen naturally. And although the recent events, the last one in Dallas, the hostage taker in the synagogue, I did not feel a special movement towards being more prepared necessarily.
But because of that, Texas, are you getting more interest? So synagogues really want to protect themselves?
I don't feel it.
You don't see
No,
that?
I don't feel it. After the active shooter in Pittsburgh, that the 11 dead from active shooter, there was some sort of a shock. It was on national TV and I felt the movement. I felt the people seeking solutions, but it fade out.
Oh, it faded.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
People don't believe it's going to happen to them. This is yeah.
Now there's growing anti-Semitism, more growing physical attacks on Jews. So I would assume that maybe individual Jews would want to learn more self-defense tactics that you've acquired through being in the Shin Bet, the Israeli Secret Service, the Shabak.
We have individuals, Jewish people, all the time coming for training. It's very common. Rabbi Schwartz is not the only one. But again, it's on the normal phase. I don't see that anti-Semitism was translated to training necessarily.
Rabbi Avi Schwartz, are you making a film on Tomer, about Tomer?
I'm writing an article right now, a series of articles in Times of Israel about the experience I had and so forth, and hopefully very soon will come out. And I'd like people to know what the experience not only that I had, but also the other people as well in the training, and how the benefit they could help in terms of their own lives, protect themselves and the community as well. And people should know about Tomer, his tactical school, because I think he's the only one who uses live fire, and the not only that, but the expertise that he brings into it is extraordinary. Especially also the instructors also that he uses too, and literally people will learn very quickly how to use types of weapons. And more important, it's the mindset. It's the mindset. More important than anything else, it's not the weapon; it's the person behind the weapon. And he gives that confidence to people, and that ability to people to open up their other half, so to speak, where the half of strength what's needed in any warrior situation.
Now, Tomer, I was curious about something. I know you were in Washington and you were with the diplomatic corps and did some protection for them. I would assume, would that be more of a role of the Mossad as opposed to the Shin Bet? Is the Shin Bet internal and the Mossad more external? I was just curious about that.
Yeah, so Mossad is an intelligence agency.
Like the CIA of the United States.
Right, so they not necessarily provide services other than intelligence. The Shin Bet is a bit different animal since we been assigned to protect assets. So protection as a mission is a natural mission. Of course, the Shin Bet also does intelligence like Mossad, but simply domestic. But the protection mission is unique for the Shin Bet, and I can name other assets than the embassies. Also, El Al, Arkia, the Israeli airliners protected by the Israeli Shin Bet, basically. Of course, Prime Minister, President, Supreme Court. So the protection is not just with embassies and diplomats, but also in other assets of the state of Israel, sensitive assets.
Now you have this school, the Israeli Tactical Community, a school, you teach people the secrets you learned in the Shin Bet. Give us a profile, who's coming, how many people are coming, where are you located? Let's get some more nitty gritty. Let's go beyond the surface.
The course is for everyone. So it's not, you don't have to come necessarily with prerequisites. As Rabbi Schwartz was saying, we emphasize a lot about fundamentals. So you can be highly trained or not trained at all. You will be you will get to the phase of shooting actual live fire after practicing a lot. These courses, because look, it doesn't matter how good I am as an instructor, let's say I am good, a facility also is important because I cannot give you a high quality of training if I cannot facilitate a realistic setup of doors, hallways, room, altogether the urban scenario that you may meet the threat. Take, for example, synagogue. We need to create to simulate a synagogue challenge, urban challenge, in order to teach the congregation security, how to handle it. So all of this setup, facility, and training happens in Florida during the non-hot season. Let's put it that way. Let's say from September to May. This is more or less where it's realistic to take training in Florida. And when we're not there, on that hot season, we try to work from California, Los Angeles, Idaho, or private lessons. So people can simply invite us, and we're gonna.
So they can come see you in New York. You'll come see them in New York too, right?
Yeah, we can set up a training in New York, super close to the Bronx, just an hour away from the center of Manhattan. Depends on traffic.
Do you teach people how to navigate traffic too?
This is, you can ask Waze, they're better than me.
I thought maybe there's a secret way or a Shin Bet way of dealing with that. So how long does it take for somebody to learn the skills that you teach them? Because you obviously had extensive training. How long does it take for the average person to learn some of these skills?
So to be introduced, 2 days, introduced, meaning understand what you don't understand, to know what you don't know. To be proficient and confident, 5 days. And and understand that people usually don't have 5 days, just out of the bat to invest in something. But I just want to remind the community, if something will happen in the congregation, you need people proficient. So I think as a community, the Jewish community will make the investment to do training, let's say with the Israeli Tactical School. The benefit is that the operators, the people that actually will take the shot in the case of emergency, will do it with concerns about non-combatives in the area, make sure that they shoot only the bad guys, not accidentally people from the congregation. So basically we have, the training is in a level that we actually can expect this type of results. And this is big. If you try to compare it to any other training even in America, it's only the air marshals or SWAT units have this level of surgical, defined exactly, and results-oriented in that sense. And we are doing it for a while. So it's very hard, solid, best practice that we implementing in the.
Now, how does it work? What are the costs involved with somebody taking a course with you?
Come again, please.
What are the costs, and or what is it for
costs.
somebody to participate?
So the courses are very expensive. They're very expensive compared to other courses. It's about $500 a day, just the training. Why I'm saying it's very expensive, because when you pile up, if we need 5 days, it's $2,500 a person, just the training. But again, we cannot provide quality without provide you everything that you need to succeed with the effort to train you well. And the way I see it, it's life or death situation. I think maybe if individuals are not interested for themselves, but they are all going to the synagogue, and I'm not trying here to scare people or to create a Armageddon atmosphere in this conversation, or to utilize conspiracy theories, but anti-Semitism not going away. we see only increase in the anti-Semitism around the world and in America. Some of this anti-Semitism is related to religion, some of them to Nazis, that like the one that they attacked in Pittsburgh, some to the political environment in the Middle East with the Palestinians. There is all kind of sort of threats that the motivation that happens in the environment that we call eventually anti-Semitism or threat on the Jewish communities. Just see the recent event in Dallas. A person travels from the UK, especially to attack the synagogue in Dallas, from all targets, from all objectives that he could choose. If you ask the FBI, not a Jewish institute necessarily, if you ask the FBI what is the number one threat on their list, they will mention after the government, immediate government institutes of the United States, they will mention the Jewish community. So we are coming to second or third in the priorities, the way the FBI see it. Another interesting statistic, again, not trying to scare people off from the whole idea, but definitely give the evidence or the facts that the active shooter is an idea to take a gun and use it, become more and more popular. Meaning it's not just the guns are accessible in America, the motivation to use the gun and the success they see become popular. I think I'm not a fortune teller and I'm not a prophet, but people need to be more prepared.
Yeah, more prepared for that. They have to be prepared. We don't know. And the summer is unfortunately growing. And we shouldn't wait to be self-protective when incidents happen. We should be proactive and get the right training, which is what you're doing. So you were going to say, Rabbi Avi?
Yes. A few days ago, I sent you a video of me doing one of the exercises. And you noticed that was in a video whereby I'm in a car and we're being attacked, we're being ambushed. Now you saw in that video, I was able to respond quickly. Now, before I did that training, I was watching people there on the road and they'll do it in the training, and it's like a James Bond moment. And I said to myself, could this be possible? Could I learn such a thing so quickly, so soon? It would take weeks, take months, to be in a car, to jump out through the window, so to speak. Maybe you can show that video later on if you want, whatever. But the point was, how will I be able to do that? To get my bearings, take out the gun, aim it properly, and then afterwards shoot it all from a car while the driver is getting on his side and making sure that we're not hitting each other or doing anything safety violation, and then running and at target and neutralizing target. So it seemed like a James Bond, type of scenario. Well, we were training this type of action over and over and again for 2 days. Dry run, with the instructors, jumping out with the seat belts, making it go through the window, jumping through putting your body through the window of the car, making sure you're stabilized as the gun is going out, and then aiming it, hitting the target, and then opening the door while tremendous pressure is happening from the instructor. The instructor is yelling and screaming, come on, go, like that. So you're getting into the whole phase and teaching you, and you have to imagine that really that you're being attacked and being ambushed. And then as
you got good round of time, but so you got good training, basically. Now you're confident.
No. The point was over here. That's not my point. My point over here is that how Tomer and his instructors were able to take someone who's not used to these things, and basically within 24 hours, 48 hours, give that person the ability. That was amazing. Something you maybe take a month, 2 months to learn. He literally taught to us and to other people within 48 hours. What he said, what he promised us, he fulfilled. That was shocking. And I was able, then I showed the video to other people. And then I sent it to you. I couldn't believe that. That's when Tomer says he can do things in 45 days, it seems impossible. How could it be? But it's really true. He has developed a system. They learn in Shin Bet, and with instructors that he has of top quality, they literally teach you in a different level that is extraordinary in terms of teaching, learning, and then remembering the tactics.
Rabbi Avi Schwartz,
I want to
filmmaker.
emphasize, if I
Yes.
elaborate really specifically, Rabbi Schwartz came to me the first time not knowing where the buttons of the gun are. He doesn't know how to take the magazine.
Right.
Totally awkward about guns. It's not his forte. It's not like he's a Rambo rabbi, okay? He came to the course. What we can do in Israeli Tactical School, because we're a community, if you want, we can elaborate about it. We have the ability to give personal attention. I can assign a student that is more senior. At your course, it was a Marines Recon student. So it was a very proficient warrior, nothing to do with me. And he was be able to walk through with Schwartz slowly, making sure he does all the elements with repetition that eventually even Rabbi Schwartz, that is not Rambo, later to see in the video what he did. It's unbelievable. Working with another guy, live fire, coming from a car, Rabbi Schwartz, not to mention your age now, but think all of these elements, how many days? 4 days of actual training.
Yep.
So
Amazing. Anyway, we're fortunately out of time, so I want to thank you, Rabbi Avi Schwartz, filmmaker. He's now part of the community dealing with self-defense throughout the Israeli tactical community. Tomer Israeli is the founder, a former member of the Shin Bet. He's also a former member of the Israeli Army. He served in the diplomatic corps in Washington, protecting diplomats. If people want to learn more about the Israeli tactical community, how can they do so?
IsraeliTactical.com, and we are very responsive. Just call us, email us, and we take it from there.
So thank you for being part of our show. We appreciate it. We look forward to having you back on a future broadcast. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for listening.
For continuous Jewish programs, Talkline-Network.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the Talkline-Network.com.